So if you want to call yourself a cargo bike, then I think you need to be able to haul some cargo. So Engwe has just released the LE20 cargo bike, and they sent us one to try out. So let's go ahead and get it open, put together, and see what it's all about.
So the bike came very well packaged. You can see that it almost took as long to get all the packaging and protection off of it as it did to assemble the whole bike. So after we got on the stand here, we just have to put the handlebars on, we have to put the front wheel on. Then it took a minute to get the front light and the front fender on. Then after we got the fender on, all we had to do was put the pedals on, got the little seat post in there, the batteries, and the rear light.
So the whole assembly process took me about 30 minutes, and there's a couple things that I want to just, before I even take the bike down off the lift, a couple things that I noticed right out of the box. Number one, it is the dual battery version, which is really cool that this cargo bike has, it's a pretty high load capacity, so we've got two monster batteries. And it appears that the batteries came completely dead because I cannot even get them to turn on. We can release the main front battery here by turning the key and lifting it out. And I did find a little extra, some screws. I know you can't see it from there, but when I pulled the battery out, there's some screws. It looks like maybe it's coming from up here in the top mount. Like maybe I need to check more things inside here before we actually take it for a ride. But yeah, this is a 19.2 amp hour battery, so 921 watt hours. So let's just say 19 amp hour. I like to use amp hours. I know a lot of people like to use watt hours, but I'm going by amp hours. So 19 on this front battery. And the key doesn't have to be on for this battery to work, I don't assume, because it just springs back when I turn it. I think that's just to unlock the battery. Now the battery does have an on-off switch, and I've tried it both ways, and it has a little battery meter on top here as well, but I'm not getting anything, so I'm assuming the batteries are dead. It does have a key for the back. Now there's the same brand of key, but they're different numbers. I wish, like, if you bought a dual battery kit, that they could match the keys so you don't have to have two sets of keys to work different batteries. So this one, we have to raise the seat up to pull it out. Let's see if I can get it unlocked. Okay, and then it just slides right out the back. Now this is also a 19.2 amp hour. Yeah, 921 watt hours. So that's basically two 19 amp hour batteries. So 38.4 total amp hours. That's a monster. I mean, I cannot imagine riding this thing until it was dead in one trip before I got back to a charger. As a matter of fact, I've never killed any of my electric bikes because I'm always at a charger the same day, whether I'm camping or not. But we might try to test that. It'll take me several days, I think, to kill this battery, but we're gonna have to try it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get this battery, let's see, locked in, take the key out so I don't lose it, take this key out so I don't lose them. And we're gonna put it on the charger. Now, I thought I was getting the fast charger with this, because apparently they've got a charger that will charge this thing in like 3 hours. I don't know if that's both batteries, but apparently it's a supercharger. But this is just a standard, this is a 3 amp charger, so this is kind of standard. We're gonna go ahead and plug it up into the front battery. I don't know if it charges the battery simultaneously or not. We will have to see if that is the case, and it should. Another thing right out of the box I noticed is it looks like maybe the display's upside down or not in the right spot. I could be totally wrong, but I can't turn it on to see if that's actually right. I also noticed that it did not come with running boards. So it has a rear padded seat here, really nice seat, but no running board. So this is the first cargo bike that I received that does not have running boards, somewhere to put your feet, which I think is kind of odd. And about 50-50 chance that we're going to get a front basket with cargo bikes. Now this one has, you know, the front mount for the front rack, but it did not come with the front cargo rack. So I think that maybe all these are being sold individually. So I think the only option that I got, number one, is this beautiful blue color and the dual battery. So let's get these batteries charged, and we'll talk about some other features on this thing, like the torque sensor, the brakes, the hydraulic disc brakes, the size of the rotors. We got a lot to go over. We're not gonna get too in-depth on the specs. We just wanna see what it can do. So let's get it charging and see if we can get some juice in it so we can get it tested out. So I do have it charging here. We can see that the charger is on. I've got it plugged into the front battery, and indeed it looks like we are charging both batteries, because see now when I push the charge state button, I get a reading there, and then on the rear battery I'm also getting a reading there. So both of them are now being charged simultaneously. And I was wrong, the screen is on correctly. It's just, it's kind of off to the side a little bit, so I'm not sure. I might just, maybe a little bit of adjustment. It just looks crooked to me. But what's cool, it looks like it's showing the charge state of both batteries. That's kind of unique. I haven't seen that before. I usually just get a state charge for like the entire system in one, but it looks like it's showing me both batteries. And it's saying 50%, that's only because the charger's plugged in. So we're gonna let this thing charge for a couple hours while we work on something else. I think if this is gonna be a cargo bike, then it needs to be able to handle some cargo. So I want to be able to hook my trailer up to the back of this bike, and usually, you know, our trailer mounts would kind of go right here on the rear axle nut, but just the way this bike is designed, if I were to put that on the rear axle nut, I just don't have enough room to hook my trailer, you know, to the frame there. It looks like if that went up, yeah, just the trailer would be hitting that. So we just needed to design a whole nother a template we'll just make out of cardboard so that I can mount the trailer mount back here in the back. So that's what we're going to do now, is we're going to just make a quick template, and then we're going to laser cut it out. So we're going to trace it, make it fit, and see what it looks like. So there's the template for our custom trailer bracket that's going to go on the bike. So this will mount, I think we're going to thread that. That will mount to the these holes right here, and then we'll bolt this to the bracket right there. So that's actually, I'm really happy with the way that template fits. So we're going to paint this little bracket. This is an electron blue pearl, I guess. It might not be a exact match, but better than primer gray or black. That is a pretty color. Well, although it's not a perfect match, no, it's actually not really even close. I probably would have been better off just painting it black, but I didn't have a sample or anything to take with me. But anyways, I guess it'll be okay. You don't see a lot of it. I will take that back off and try to find a little closer blue. I kind of like that blue color, or like I said, you don't really see much of it, so black will probably be fine. Beautiful. I'm pretty happy how that turned out. Now she's ready to haul a trailer.
and put some real cargo behind the cargo bike.
So we are riding on the 20x3 tires, and there's a lot of advantage to the 20x3 over the 20x4 tire. I mean, you just get a little faster acceleration, maybe a little less weight, but what I really like about it is the mag wheel on these. I like these better than spoked, but what I'm doing right now is I'm gonna go ahead and put in some tire sealant, because in my state, you don't go anywhere without some type of tire sealant, some type of tire protection. We kind of live out in a desert area, and lots of pokey, spiky things that cause flat tires. So I'm using Flat Out. This is one of my favorite. You can see out of all the bikes we have, we've tried all kinds of other things. Other than using like a tennis armor or an insert, I think Flat Out is by far one of the best tire sealants on the market in my experience. So before we take it out for a ride and hook the trailer to it, let's just go over a couple quick specs. You know, like the 7-speed tourney, Shimano derailleur. I mean, it works. It's reliable. It's nothing special about it. Like I said, 7-speed right here. We got kind of a, since a cargo bike's much longer, it's nice to have like a tensioner type assembly here, a guide to take some of the slack out of the chain. So this is pretty nice right here. Like I said, we already talked about the batteries. So between the two batteries, the dual battery kit, we're looking at 38.4 amp hours. I think that's just huge. That's awesome. So it is a 48 volt system. And back here we do have the 750 watt hub motor. So nothing super special, not a lot of power. I mean, a lot of bikes kind of have this type of setup, you know, 48 volt, just because it has two batteries, it's not gonna make it any more powerful, but it does give it a lot more range. Again, we do have the little Shimano shifter, and just not crazy about these. I don't know why, because they're reliable, they function, they work. Really nice screen. And this is what I was talking about. So this is cool that it does show the charge state of each battery individually on the display here. That's not something I'm used to seeing, so that is pretty cool. So you can see we're only about 3/4 of the way charged. We're gonna keep charging before we do ride it, because we wanna get a, you know, maximum potential out of it. Handlebars extendable, just like our seat post is extendable. No rear suspension. Back here in the back, no suspension post, so pretty much no rear suspension. You do have some front suspension here, a little bit of adjustable with a lockout. You can set a preload over here. Again, nothing special, but it does work. Hydraulic brakes, which is nice to see, especially on a cargo bike. It's gonna be, you know, has a capacity of over 400 pounds. I think it's like 450 pounds, I believe is what the capacity on this is. And it does have the 180 millimeter rotors as opposed to a 160 millimeter. So in inches, that's about a 7-inch rotor as opposed to what, 6 1/4, if I do my math right, rotor. So it is a little bit bigger. They are better for stopping power and dissipating heat. Nice that they upgraded the brakes on this as opposed to the L20. Looks like we need to do a little cable management down here. Maybe we missed a zip tie up here or something. No big deal, I can get that stuff straightened out. This is kind of a standard kickstand that we see on the cargo bikes. Pretty nice, kind of lifts up the whole back end of the bike. Or I guess the front of the bike. I don't know how it's kind of balanced, but yeah, it looks like it lifts the rear of the bike and kind of balances on the front tire and the jack stand here. We did talk about, you know, our charge state on the battery. Each battery has that, which is nice. So we can just a click of a button see what the charge state of the batteries are. And again, no running boards, which is kind of surprising to me that that doesn't come standard. I understand, you know, the front rack, you know, being optional and some of the other stuff. They got all kinds of cool options back here for the back. It does come with seat pads, but I can't believe it didn't come with like the running boards to put your feet. Like some of our other cargo bikes, you can see back there in the back has the running boards. I'm on this one here on the Tetrad, and then on the Magnum, you know, they all come with running boards, kind of standard whether they had the back seat or not. So yeah, really cool, all the options that they have for this. They have, you know, a rack with a bag that goes in there. You can actually put your child carrier seats in there. I think there's a couple different options, or just a bench or a cage, I guess, for the kids to sit in. So I guess we'll have to check that out. The options sold separately. We do have a turn signal, so let's just hit the left button to turn left. And on the screen, you see we do have the arrow. That's what I was wondering, because sometimes If you have a turn signal, it doesn't let you know on the display that you've turned your turn signal on, and then you're just riding around with your turn signal on. So that would be the left. And then of course we will have the right turn signal. And if I can reach, we also have a brake light as well. So I think that pretty much wraps up the specs and the options on the bike. Let's go ahead and let it finish charging, then we're going to get it outside and hook the trailer to it, load it up with some cargo, and put it to some rail test.